Hey everyone, today I want to tell you about the number one obstacle when it comes to serving God and how you can overcome it. So talk about how do you serve God? What is the best way? Well, I'm going to start with a personal story. This starts when I was a little girl. I always heard about, I'm Catholic, so I always heard about the saints growing up. I heard about Joan of Arc and St. Catherine of Siena and Mother Teresa and how they did these really big things to serve God and that changed the whole world. I dreamed in my little girl mind of doing that. I was inspired by them, and why not? They have amazing stories. I found that as I grew older, I loved ballet, and I decided this is great. I'm going to become a famous ballerina. I'm going to found my own ballet company, write my own ballets, and they're all going to be biblically based ballets and tell Bible stories and the stories of saints. And in my mind, I just had, I was going to change the world. I imagined flocks of people coming to the theater to see these ballets, right? It didn't really work out that way. For a while, I moved to New York, studied ballet there under my favorite ballerina of all time, which is great. Certain events took place, and the opportunities to found my own ballet company and write biblically based ballets and saint story ballets never presented themselves. In fact, moving to New York for me was a complete failure. I ended up moving back home and with my parents. I struggled to find a job after that, and I was really devastated. I was just like, God, what the heck? This was our plan, right? And I brought that to prayer, and I heard God say in my heart, no, Jacqueline, that was not our plan. That was your plan. I have different ideas for you. And, growing up Catholic, I'm still Catholic, but I also heard other saint stories that were not so exciting. It weren't like Joan of Arc, ending the 100 Years' War or anything like that, but just stories with pretty boring lives. And the saint that Jesus brought to my mind was Saint Teresa of the Little Flower, also known as Saint Teresa of Lisieux. She didn't really ever do anything huge or big. She became a Carmelite nun. She did her duties to the best of her ability. She wrote a little autobiography. And yet she's a saint. And I think for a while she probably felt similarly to me, because she says this in her book. I'm going to read it to you. And her book is called Story of a Soul. She says, "For a long time I had been asking myself why souls did not receive all the same amount of grace. Jesus deigned to instruct me about this mystery. Before my eyes, he placed the book of nature, and I understood that all the flowers he created by him are beautiful. That if all the flowers wanted to be roses, nature would lose her springtime garb. That same is true of the world of souls, the Lord's living garden." So when I think about this, it really inspires me. I felt like Jesus was saying to me, Jacqueline, by looking for the next big thing that you can do, by only focusing on what giant, great, big thing can I do to change the world and serve you, God, I was missing out on all the small little opportunities that I could have that would change people or help people. You can serve God in little ways too. I'm reminded of the verse 2 through 26, found in John chapter 4, verses 2 through 26, where Jesus meets a Samaritan woman. She's an outcast from society, and she's drawing water in the middle of the day from a well. She is afraid to run into people in her own society. That's why she's drawing water in the middle of the day. It is the hottest part of the day. People don't go to draw water. They go to the water in the morning, and that's when all the women gossip and catch up with each other and say hi. And she's by herself drawing water, and Jesus stops and asks her for some water, and she's really confused because Jesus is a Jew, and the Jews and the Samaritans didn't get along very well. But not only does Jesus ask her for some water, he sits down and he talks with her. Doesn't work any miracles, nothing spectacular, just sits down and talks to her about her life and gets to know her. And it is through visiting with her that this Samaritan woman comes to know Jesus, and she becomes excited about him and excited about knowing him. And so she goes back into the town where people have shunned her, and proclaims the good news of Jesus and says, hey, I met the Messiah. He's here. He's talking to us outcasts, which is pretty amazing because he didn't really do anything grand. And I think that that's really significant for us in our lives, people who can't really do big things or don't have the opportunity to do big things. You can make a big difference through small things, through small actions. Like Saint Teresa of Lisieux is a saint. She changed a lot of people's hearts in her own little way. And that's the message I want to have for you today. The biggest obstacle, for me anyway, when coming to serve God is always looking for, what can I do that's really big? What can I do that's really big? And missing out on all those small little opportunities to help people and to be kind. Those are big things too, even though they don't seem like it. I think the best way to serve God is to look at the moment, the current moment, and think, Jesus, what can I do for you right now in this moment that will help someone? Whether it's yourself, a friend, a family member, a stranger, anyone, your neighbor, you can serve God with small acts of kindness and make a big difference, right? God bless you all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to help share this message. That really does support my channel, and love you all so much.